Hi there, folks. It's Jonathan Denwood here from WP-Tonic, and in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can become a highly paid influencer online. It's something that we've got a ton of knowledge about at WP-Tonic. We've helped loads of people achieve this. I've got some great insights. I'll be back in a few moments, folks. I'm coming back, folks. So we're going to be talking about how can you become a highly paid influencer online in 2024 in a legitimate way. There's loads of people online that, let's face it, folks, are a little bit iffy, but you're not one of those. But you want to build your influence online. You've got a ton of experience in your particular sector or industry, and trying to build an online business based on that experience is a great idea if you do it the right way. And why is it a great idea? Well, as you know, there's only so many hours in a day, in a week, in a month, and in a year, and in a lifetime. Do the maths and have a kind of personal life with your family that you want. Now, being that there's only so many hours in a day, most experts, unless they've got a sizable team in a kind of consultancy scenario, you have to pay, people pay an hourly rate to get access to your experience. It's a one-to-one kind of relationship. That's one-to-one to individuals, or that's one-to-one with companies, which is a great model. But like I said at the beginning of this, there's only so many hours in a day, in a week, in a month. So there is only you're dealing with a finite resource. Now, what most people do as their experience and expertise increases, they increase the hourly rate, and that's fine. And if you're in the top echelon of your particular sector, there's a lot of traction in doing it. But normally there is a limit. There's a limit on the amount of growth you can obtain by just increasing the price of access to yourself. So what do you do? Well, a lot of people in this scenario also don't want to build some massive business with a load of employed staff, um, and become an administrator. They love the sector that they're expert in, but they don't want all the baggage of running a very large organization. So how do you move forward? Well, the great news is you can build uh, away from that one-to-one scenario to one-to-many scenario. And you do that by selling your expertise online through courses, through e-learning, a totally legit and still massively growing business in 2024. And by all predictions from credible sources, has a tremendous amount of growth in the next 5 to 10 years. And I agree with that. I can only see online training, education, and passing experience over to people. I can only see it growing. So that's the fantastic news. But how do you do it? That, there's great opportunity there, but how do you do it? Well, um, there's a fundamental thing you got to understand, where most people, when they come into this space, even though they got an enormous amount of experience and knowledge to share, they make some crucial mistakes that really hinder their ability to build influence online, to build an effective membership-based business online as well. That's They tend to want to build a massive course initially. That's one of the problems. And they tend to throw a lot of energy, time, and financial resources into building a very comprehensive, multi-layered course. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't produce quality. I'm saying that you should get away from this idea that even though you've got all that experience, that you should build a massive course, because you might have experience in your area of expertise, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be a fantastic educator, in communicator. That will take practice a little bit. But on the other hand, it's totally achievable. So don't get put off by me saying that, because it's totally achievable in a reasonably quick thing. What you need to do is build a minimum viable initial course. That comes from the bootstrap startup world, where the startup world talks about a minimum viable product. To find product fit, I adapt that term and I say build a minimum viable course to find minimum viable fit with your student base. Can you see how the terms are changeable, but this it still means the same thing? So I think you can get a lot of knowledge and a lot of understanding about how to do this in the right way by the startup world, by the bootstrap startup world, where you're financing your startup from actual revenue that you're making rather than getting outside investment. The other factor is a lot of it also comes from the startup world. You got this concept of painkiller or vitamin. Are you actually in your initial course with your initial student base? Are you in this course effectively dealing with a problem that has urgency to it? You know, what is the problem that your course is going to help that student base deal with? And the more urgency, emotionally, financially, the more urgency that is in that, the more you're going to be able to launch successfully in that niche area. And that's the other thing. The money's in the niche. You know, you find that in bootstrap startup, the idea that you can go into a broad category unless you're totally established and get traction, or you're prepared to throw an enormous amount of money at it, it's very unlikely that you're building the ability to be successful. You really need to find a niche in a broad category. If it's too niche, it's probably unlikely you're going to be able to get the traction to build a successful online business. On the other hand, going too broad too quickly, you're really handicapping yourself. You know, it's very unlikely you're going to have success, in my opinion. So, is there urgency? Is there a real demand, urgent demand to get a result which you cannot give them in that initial minimum viable course? You can do it on the vitamin side, which is aspirational, but I think for your first course, you're better off going the painkiller route if you really want to get success in this. The other factor is it's great having real great aspirations for how many students you can help, and the kind of financial reward you're going to get by helping all these people. The truth is, if this your first course, you'd be better off getting a tight group of students that really go through the course, that give you real feedback, that can be real supporters of ongoing courses as you build this initial viable course out into a bigger one. that's the way to do it. If you get hundreds of people joining a course, you're probably not going to have the internal ability to support these people and really make sure that they get the outcomes, so they really become evangelists for you, for what you're offering. Because to get real traction, unless you're going to throw a ton of money, you really need those initial students to really start talking about what they got from the course and really become unpaid evangelists for you to publicize the course, so your next build up becomes more successful. The other factor is, the good news is there's a load of ways of building yourself up as a real credible influencer in a particular niche. Great ways to start a podcast yourself, but also go on other people's podcasts. It's just a great way of building. You're not going to get a massive audience, but that's not what you're looking for. What you're looking for is your tribe, a group of people that are going to really evangelize for you. And that's what you get from podcasting. YouTube, obvious. You don't need a massive audience on YouTube, just the same as you don't need a massive audience on your podcasts. You need commitment, and you need to be prepared to spend a bit of time and grind it out a little bit. Building a Facebook group, great idea. Obviously, you want to get those people off as quickly as possible into a second or third stage of your progress, about a more community focus, but you really need to build something up that doesn't take too much time, that really links into your initial membership course. So starting that on Facebook is great, and joining other ones. LinkedIn is fantastic in the more B2B, or B2C and B2B are kind of merging in some ways, I feel. I think building that tribe on LinkedIn, X, formerly known as Twitter, utilizing video, building a community on there. The only one that, for the right sort of, Pinterest is another good resource, but the ones that I'm a bit wary on are Instagram and Meta, Facebook. I think Instagram, if it's the right kind of influencer, more consumer focus, I think it's fine. I think Facebook, the group side, great, but utilising the rest of it, it's been made a paid wall, really. Like the other ones I've mentioned, they're more effective in getting a result. The other thing I want to point out to you is you find all the links in the video description underneath. We've got a ton of free resources that you can sign up for or get totally free. You find all the links, like I say, in the description. And I've also written a longer piece about all this, and you find that in the video description as well. Now, I just want to finish off that this doesn't have to take too long, actually. You can get into a position where you can really generate some real income that will really change things for you quite rapidly in less than a year. Now, you think, oh, I want to get a result quicker than a year. We've got to be realistic here. It does depend where you're starting from. But if you do all the things I've outlined, and that's in the article I've written about this, I can pretty guarantee that you're going to get some traction, depending if you find the right niche in where you're going to build your authority in. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you do, give us a thumbs up on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. We're making more content every week that will help you build the kind of online business that will get you success, not only for yourself, but for your family. I'll see you soon, folks. Bye.